Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to breathe, take a moment to pause, reconnecting our mind, bodies, and spirits. And we're continuing with the chakra series. We are on the heart chakra. We did the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and now we are on the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, aka the bridge, if you will. So, the bridge between the lower three physical chakras and then the upper three spiritual chakras. And so, the heart chakra card, the affirmation that we're working with is I am able to trust my heart. And then the color is green at the core of it, but on a higher level, a higher octave, is the color pink, is also used to identify the heart chakra. And then it's located at the center of the chest, again, the center of the two chakras, higher and lower. And the heart chakra really deals with matters of the heart: compassion, love, empathy, self compassion, forgiveness. Those are some of the themes that you'll see with the heart chakra. And so we're going to talk about what does it look like when it's in balance? What does it look like if you have a balanced heart chakra? And then how to get it in back into balance if it is out of alignment. And then also just some practical things, what that looks like, and then how to heal the things. So the heart chakra, it's just so vital and so important, and it's just so big. It's so big. And one just being the bridge between the two worlds, right? And it's the center of everything. When you think of the heart, it's everything. If you're living a heart-centered, reconnecting to mind, body, and spirit, journeying back to self, getting back to the core of who you are, your heart is everything. Is everything. And that's why they say guard your heart and protect your heart. When you're doing things from the heart, when you're speaking from the heart, when you're it just has to do with everything. Are you living a heart-centered life? I think that's just one overall way to tell if your heart chakra is balanced or imbalanced. Are you living a heart-centered life in all aspects? In what you do for work, in who you have around you, in your hobbies, in your passions, in your interests? Are they heart-centered, or are you just doing things because, and granted, it's life. You got to do what you got to do to get to where you need to get, to have what you need to have, to be who you need to be at the end of the day. So that's a life thing. If everything can't be heart centered because, you're on a mission and you're working and you're doing what you got to do to get by, then cool. But I think that's what we should be striving toward, living a heart-centered life. And that looks different for everybody, because whatever is in your heart is not what's in my heart, and whatever gives you joy is not what brings me joy. And so I think that's why it's crucial to not only know how to balance out your heart chakra, or so that's why I think it's crucial to not only know what it looks like when your heart chakra is out of balance, but to know what to do to get it back into balance, because that's your guide, you know. Yeah, you have your religion, you have God, you have your higher power, you have, people guiding you. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about self, if we're talking about our higher self, our best self, that's your guide. You have to check in with your heart. And if it's blocked, if your heart chakra is blocked, it's not talking to you. It's not telling you what you need to do next, and where you need to go, and what's going to make you the most money, and what's going to bring you the most joy. And it's not telling you that because it's blocked and it's not communicating to each other. So what does a sign of an imbalanced heart chakra or a blocked heart chakra look like? Emotionally, this looks like sadness, grief, despair, heartache, jealousy, these feelings of basically the opposite of love, essentially loneliness, isolation, when you're feeling abandoned. And there's so many reasons why these things could be happening. We're not concerned with the reasons why you're feeling lonely or sad or jealous. I mean, it would be good to know, but if you just notice, because sometimes we start feeling things and we don't even know where that feeling came from. Maybe it was activated by a thought or by a memory, or a dream we had, or something. There's so many reasons why we feel things, but at the core of it, it's noticing what you're feeling. So if you are feeling some of these emotions, it could be a sign of an imbalanced heart chakra. And things happen, of course, breakups, people passing, and tragic events. All of these things are going to undoubtedly affect your heart chakra and your heart posture, and could spark those feelings of grief and despair and heartache and all these things and isolation. And so it's important to move through, of course, especially on an emotional and on a feeling level. And I think that's also a way that your heart chakra gets blocked if you don't let these emotions move through you and they get stuck there. So it does create a blockage. If you have a heartbreak and for whatever reason, maybe you just were never able to get over that person, or you were never able to process fully what happened in that relationship and why it ended and why you guys don't speak anymore. And if you're not able to process that, it gets lodged in there, it gets blocked in there. So now you just have this heartache, and maybe it doesn't debilitate you and you can go on and you can go through your day and, have other conversations and date different people. But deep down, if you have not resolved that, if you haven't let that emotion move through you, then it's still going to be there and it still creates a blockage. I think as they accumulate, then the energy is blocked and it can't flow. The heart chakra energy can't flow to other parts of your body, which is very crucial because, again, it's the center. So, some other signs, if you can't experience compassion for others, but more so for yourself, because what I've noticed just in my everyday life, I think it's very easy to have compassion for others, especially with people who are in different situations than you, or who are less fortunate than you, or who maybe don't have what you have, or haven't experienced all that you've experienced, or accumulated all that you've accumulated in life, or just people going through a tough time, people having surgery, getting cancer, losing loved ones. I think it's easy to have compassion and put yourself in those people's shoes and to have empathy and sympathy and all of the things. But I think it's a little bit harder depending on the relationship you have with yourself. It's a little bit harder to have that self compassion. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were kind of just unpacking and venting about things in our lives. And he was sharing that um, just something that he felt he hadn't forgiven himself for. But I was making the correlation that, okay, like for example, this is something that I've done, but you've forgiven me for it. So how come when you do the same thing, you can't forgive yourself for it? And we were just kind of going through that scenario and unpacking it. And I don't know that we came to a conclusion, but at the end of the day, it was essentially him saying, like, I can understand and give grace and have compassion for someone who may have made a mistake in this way. But he was like, but me, I should know better. Like, I know myself, I know my capabilities and, what I'm able to do. And so essentially, he was like, I can't make excuses for myself and I can't have compassion for myself or have grace because I know better. And it's that right there. Like, having an act of self-compassion is okay. Maybe you do know better and maybe you could have made a different choice, but still forgiving yourself anyway. Still having that grace to let yourself off the hook in a sense, because it's like you would do it for a friend, you would do it for a loved one. If your mom did that or if your brother did that, you're able to see their humanity and see, oh, but they're just I'm but a mere mortal and I'm gonna have shortcomings and I'm gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. And I forgive you. But I think it's just as important, if not more so, to extend that same forgiveness to ourselves, because we just can be so hard on ourselves. And I think to his point, it's because we know what's inside of us. We know if you're doing self work, if you kind of have been diving into yourself a little bit, you know what you're capable of, you know where your weaknesses are, you know what your strengths are, and you know where you need to grow and where you could excel and where you are excelling and doing very well. And so I think we don't let ourselves off the hook enough and give ourselves grace. And I think it's important to make the distinction between giving yourself grace and self-compassion versus allowing things and behaviors to be excused. I think there's a fine no, there's a large line. I think there's a large line between making excuses for yourself and your shortcomings and, not being better and not doing better and not doing better than giving yourself grace and compassion, because that's very necessary, because we're not going to get it right all the time. In fact, probably 99% of the time we will get it wrong. But it's about, okay, can I try again? Can I start over? Can I give myself grace for maybe I didn't know all that I needed to know, or maybe I didn't consider all of the factors and situations. So I think you notice if you have an imbalance in your heart chakra, that energy center, when you're not able to give yourself the same compassion that you extend to others, and also being unable or unwilling to trust your own heart, to trust not necessarily your intuition, because that's a little different thing, but to trust your heart. Like if the difference between your heart and your gut, and I think they are closely in alignment when you're in alignment, but your gut is just like instinct. It's like, you don't know why you have to go this way on the way to work today, but you do. And maybe it saved you from an accident, maybe it saved you from a traffic jam or something. Who knows? That's not for us to know. That's on a higher level. Intuitively, all you knew is that my gut told me I needed to go right, and I usually go left, so I'm gonna go right. But the heart, trusting your heart is like, you you know why you have this love, you have this passion, you have this zest for a person, for an activity, for a thing, for a place. You need to live in California. Like, your heart is there. You vibe with the entertainment, you vibe with the lifestyle, with the environment, with the palm trees, with the beach. Like, your heart needs to be there because that is where it's calling you. And so if you know that, you have that heart-centered knowing that California is where I need to be. That's where I need to live my life. That's where I'm going to thrive and flourish. Trusting your heart would be, okay, find a way to get to California. Even if you can't just pick up on a flight and move there, find a way, because you're trusting your heart and you're following that and you're going. Not trusting your heart would be, okay, I know I need to live in California. I know I would thrive there, but I'm just going to stay in Tennessee because I'm in Tennessee. And maybe you need to stay in Tennessee for a little bit. But at the end of the day, if you're not figuring out how to way to get your butt to California, if you're not figuring out a way, then you're not trusting your heart, and you're unable or you're unwilling. And that causes an imbalance also, because your heart's screaming, hey, this is what's going to make me happy. This is what's going to bring me joy. And you're like, no, we're not going to do that. And then the other way is similarly letting logic dominate over your feelings. Now, I think there are, of course, times in life where we do need to fact over, our feelings. However, if you're consistently letting logic dominate your feelings, there's an imbalance in your heart chakra, because yes, we do need to be logical and make decisions that are in our best interest, but your heart is very I think your heart can also be a source of logic. And I think you can't prove it or measure it or quantify it maybe, but it makes sense. Sometimes you have to go heart over head. Sometimes you have to go head over heart. It's all about that discernment and knowing when and where and what to do. But if you're always logicking your way out of a situation, your heart's not open enough. Maybe it's not blocked, but it's just not open enough. And some of the ways that this can present, again, depression. If you're always feeling resentful, if you have emotional insensitivity, you don't really care to be impacted or affected by others' emotions, and maybe you're just a very stoic individual, and that's how you live life. But if you're never moved by someone else's emotion, then there's something going on there. And then also some more physical symptoms of ways this may show up: heart problems, high blood pressure, respiratory problems, upper back and shoulder problems or pain. And again, consult your doctors and physicians if you do have ailments and things that are hurting physically on your body. This is only information for entertainment purposes only. But I believe that every physical symptom is but a manifestation of a spiritual symptom. So yes, you may have high blood pressure for various reasons, medically, scientifically, or you could have some serious blockages in your heart chakra. And then some addictions that it listed, which I find very interesting, is nicotine and marijuana. And I'm just going to leave that there. As someone who's had experience with both, there's no judgment around that. But I'm just going to say that for the people that I've met on my path and in my life who either smoke nicotine or smoke marijuana or are addicted to nicotine and marijuana, I can confidently say I see a correlation between maybe some heart chakra imbalance there. And again, it's just an observation, not a judgment. But I think there is a lot of different reasons why someone who was addicted to marijuana and nicotine may have some heart chakra issues, but that's another conversation for another day. And then, so what does it look like when your heart chakra is balanced, when we get it back into balance? And so that essentially looks like the complete opposite. Overriding sense of compassion. Your heart is open. We're willing to give ourselves and to share ourselves, share our ideas, share with the world, give ourselves grace and just to give more of ourselves. We're not so secluded. We're not so isolated and closed off. We want to get out in the world. We want to have community and share our gifts and share ourselves and share our opinions and experiences and just to be out in life experiencing things with people, even if it's not with people. I'm very much a loner. I'm very much a homebody, and still I notice being inside and then being outside. You can be outside without being outside. Like it's just about going out and wanting to experience and to be take up more space in the world, and also um having heart-based connections and relationships. We've all had superficial connections and relationships, and maybe some are by necessity. Maybe it's people that you work with or people that you share space with, that you need to be cordial with and kind of have a relationship. Maybe it's surface level or kind of an acquaintance thing, but it's surface and superficial, and those relationships have their place. You can't go deep with everybody. Everyone isn't supposed to get the inner workings of you and your life story and your inner heart space. Everyone doesn't get access to that. Of course, we need superficial acquaintances and connections and things like that. But a sign of your heart chakra being in balance is, even though you have those superficial friendships and relationships, you also have people around you that are deeper, that do go deeper, that you do have heart based connections with, that they do know some of your past and your history and your dreams and your goals and what you want for yourself and what you want to accomplish in life. There should be people in your life that have access to that information. If not like fully 100%, like maybe you don't let everyone in on your plans, but you should have at least one or two people, even if it's God, even if it's God, even if it's source, you should have at least one or two people where you can at least open up in that way, because it's like you're giving of yourself, you're giving of what's in your heart and what makes you you. And to be able to share that with someone and hopefully have them reciprocate that back to you, it just fuels the heart space for both people, for everyone involved. When you have a community and when you have relationships that are beyond material and beyond surface and superficial and beyond what do you do and what do you have access to and connections, and beyond the whole social, economical, moving up the whatever, like people who you can connect with and chat about life with and chat about hardships, and in not in a venting unhealthy way, but just in a relatability way. And maybe it's your therapist, but even then, that's a contractual thing. They're being paid to listen to you. I think we need some real deep connections in our lives with people who we can give ourselves to, who we can share ourselves with. That could be a significant other, it could be a parent, it could be non-verbally, it could be a pet, or your journal. It could be yourself, but I do think we need that community and we need people for sure, especially to give and receive. It's giving and it's the giving, but it's also about the receiving, which are both one and the same when you really get down to it. And then just having a sense of hope, a general sense of hope, and being optimistic and feeling inspired. Like, even if things aren't going right, even if everything is going left, can you still feel a sense of like hope, a sense of inspiration? And they do say hope is dangerous, and I do understand that. I do understand that part of it, but I would rather be hopeful than in despair. I would rather be hopeful and inspired about the possibility of what could be, of what could happen today. We have a brand new day. We have a brand new 24 hours. We have a brand new 24 hours. And maybe you're doing the same thing that you were doing in the last 24 hours. Maybe you're doing something completely different, but can you have that perspective of this is new? Anything could happen, which in turn actually puts the energy in motion for something to be new, and anything can happen. But just having that overall sense of being inspired today, maybe I could have a new idea for a project or for a business, or maybe I can make some money today. Maybe I'll have a conversation with a nice stranger today. Maybe I'll get asked out on a date today. Maybe I'll get a million likes on my post today. Like, just having that overall level of optimism shows that your heart is open. Your heart is open and on the way to being balanced. And then the way that shows up is being able to give and receive love in a healthy way in relationships, but also just in friendships. Like, just noticing, what do you feel like when you're giving and receiving? Are you comfortable with giving? Are you comfortable with receiving? And that could be anything in any way. It shows up in a lot of different spaces in a lot of different ways. Can you give? Can you receive? If you could do both, that is signs that you have a balanced, healthy heart chakra. And also when you are able to be compassionate, I said this, but it's a big thing. Compassion is such a big thing because it's not sympathy. It's not, oh, I feel bad for your situation and I'm sympathetic to you. It's not empathy. It's not, wow, I've been there before, I completely understand. It's compassion. Maybe I don't understand, and maybe I don't have any sympathy for you, but I'm going to sit in that with you anyway. And I'm going to be there compassionately and lovingly for you in that, whatever it is anyway. I may not agree, I may not relate, but can I still have compassion? Can I still have grace for this situation and what it's impacted? And that's to self and that's to others. More importantly, I think to self. But when you are able to be compassionate, just be a compassionate, loving, kind individual, you're on your way. You're on your way. Maybe the heart chakra is not completely busted wide open, but you're on your way. And you're able to feel unity and community with others. And now this is something that I check in with myself, because I know the introverts out there, um, we feel completely okay. And I dare say better in our own energy, in our own space. But I still have the ability to be in community and feel in community with others. I think it it it's just special when you get a bunch of people together who are like-minded individuals who have one goal, or who just get along and just want to, promote joy and love and belonging and community. And just getting ready, this is Halloween weekend. Like, call it a devilish demonic holiday, call it a celebration of the, ancestors and people that came before us, whatever you want to call it, however it came to be. I think the importance is community. And then also when you have emotional empowerment, so kind of the opposite of being disconnected from your emotions and relying on logic. When you are emotionally empowered, when you can move through those difficult emotions or even happy emotions and not let it kind of sweep you up, then that's a sign that you are balanced in that heart space. Because I think emotions are a lot. Emotions are a lot. And so I think when you find that sweet spot between trying to always control them and be in control and logic your way out of the emotions versus letting them overtake you and just um, be a mess because of your emotions. I think when you find that sweet spot, it's emotional empowerment. Okay, I can notice this feeling. Again, back to the mindfulness. I can notice this feeling. I can be present with this feeling or emotion, and I can let it move through me. I can work through it by walking, by breathing, by writing, by talking, by doing something to move through this emotion. And then I can still come out on the other side and remain heart open, remain heart focused, remain heart centered. That's a sign of emotional empowerment. And then also, lastly, understanding the power of prayer. And I think that's a touchy thing, at least the way that I conceptualize it. So I think growing up, anyone who was talking about crystals or chakras or energy or any of that stuff was completely antithetical to religion and God and prayer and Bible and Quran and all of that. Like, it is like night and day. And um I'm someone who just can see everything as everything anyway. And so I never separated it like that. But there is a lot of power in prayer, and that's undeniable for anyone who is religious or anyone who has had any encounter with God, like a real serious encounter with the Most High, with God Almighty. Anyone who's had that and experienced that, when you're praying, you know that you're connecting to something. You can feel it. You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your heart. You can feel it everywhere. It's undeniable. And so that that has been proven to me and to anyone who has a religious practice, who prays, who does anything. It's undeniable that prayer is very powerful. And so you know your heart is open when you can kind of accept that, and you're not, because you can pray empty prayers and you can just say the things, and you can, do it like a ritual, and it never really have any meaning, or it never really take root or take shape in your life. But when you have a heart focused prayer, a heart centered prayer, you can feel that energy moving. You can feel it's connecting to something, because again, everything flows from your heart. That's love. And if God is love, if we're equating that, that's everything. And so when you're connecting to your heart, you're connecting to God directly. And so when you realize the power of prayer, and when you begin to pray with more intention and pray with more focus and pray with more mindfulness of, this is my direct link, my direct contact to God, to source, to infinite and abundant wisdom, to everything, the totality of all that is, your heart is really open when you have that knowing, when you have that realization, because it's like you're acknowledging something way greater than yourself. You're acknowledging something way beyond you, while also acknowledging that you are the one connecting to it. So very, very, very powerful. And then what that looks like, just heart chakra energy in general, what that looks like. Having your relationship with yourself. How does your relationship with yourself look? Do you love yourself? The key word here is love. Do you love yourself? Do you love others? Do you love doing things? Do you love showing up and giving gratitude and expressing yourself? Do you have something that you love? Do you have someone that you love in your life? Do you have love in your life? That's the main question. That's the main question. Heart chakra energy. Do you have love in your life? Whatever that looks like. Maybe you have a love of food. Maybe you have a love of art. Maybe you have a love of books. Maybe you have a love of women. I don't know. Maybe you have a love of knowledge. Maybe you have a love of power. Forgetting a little bit. Maybe you have a love of yourself. Maybe you're a little conceited. Maybe it's all about me. But even still, your heart chakra is still open. Maybe not balanced, but it's open, because you have that love in your life. I think for people who can't experience love, and not that anybody can't experience love, but if you have a belief that you can't experience love, or you've never experienced love, some people have never been in a romantic relationship or a healthy romantic relationship to where they were able to experience that just abundant love, that love feeling. If you've ever been in love or had the love of a friend, or even the love of a good dish, sometimes a good dinner, a great dessert, a great movie, a great song, a great book, like all of those things, love. And it's different types. The love you experience from reading a book is not the love you experience from birthing your child, of course, but at the core of it, it's the same emotion. It's touching something in your heart center. And then Yeah. So I think when you notice what's around you and what you're connecting to, generally on a day to day is a good way to tell if your heart is open or not. What do your relationships look like? What do your hobbies look like? When you think of the word love, how do you feel? Does it make you feel abundant and excited and overjoyed? Or when you think of love, do you think of pain? Do you think of heartbreak? Do you think of grief? How does the word, the frequency of that word, make you feel? Where do you see it in your life? Where do you see a lack of it in your life? That's some place to start. That's some place to start for sure. And then ways to balance this out if you do have an imbalance or if it gets imbalanced, because you could have an open heart chakra 20 years and then something happens, some traumatic event, something, and it can start to close. So how do you open it back up? Green, the color green. So foods, leafy greens, leafy vegetables. And again, not correlation and causation, but just as a thought experiment, think about the people in your life who love eating veggies and who love eating green things. How do they act? How do they act generally on a day to day basis? What is their mood like? And then think about people who don't eat greens or who don't really like vegetables, particularly leafy greens. How do they act? What does their life look like? And it's not A plus B equals C. But I think that would be interesting to see if there is a correlation and a lack of love or a closed heart chakra. If we're doing that experiment, it doesn't always look like, oh, this person isn't in a relationship and they don't love their job. It's a little deeper than that because someone on the surface could appear very loving and very kind, but still have hate inside their heart, still have unforgiveness inside their heart, and still not be able to connect emotionally and intensely. So I think it requires looking beyond the surface, but I think there is a correlation there for people who consume leafy greens and leafy vegetables and green vegetables and what the character of their heart is. I'll say that. And then also some crystals, if you're into that: emerald, jade, again, rose quartz, because pink is the higher octave of that. So rose quartz, these things to promote love. And then some meditation. So I'm also going to link a sound bowl meditation for the heart chakra in the description. And then also Yoga with Nico, her heart chakra flow for her chakra reset series that she did. So I'm going to link those in the description. Those are some ways to balance out your heart chakra if you do like those type of things. Some other things to do: walking in nature, doing charitable work, giving back, again, opening your heart center, being compassionate, giving back to other people, engaging in a religious practice in a real way, not performative, not showing up on Sunday or showing up on Wednesday or showing up on Friday. That's very powerful to open up your heart chakra because it directly touches your heartstrings. I can't tell you how many times I've been engaged in prayer or um, just having revelations, because God speaks to me and God speaks in very mysterious ways. And there's some things that just happen, or some things that you see, something a stranger tells you, or something that that's God. And it just connects you directly to your heart space. And then just some like little practical things. Again, I talked about the love of books, of movies, of songs, engaging in those things that make you feel good, that you like, that touch your heart space. So those are some ways to balance it out. And then I wanted to close with a meditation. So this meditation is called Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian practice meditation for reconciliation and forgiveness. And again, forgiveness directly relates to the heart chakra. And so you can do it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long. And I really like this meditation because it's like a mantra. And so I like doing it out loud. Obviously, you can do it in your head, or if you're on the go, or if you are in a space where you can do it out loud, however you want to do it. But it's just powerful. The specific words that you say, and you just do a repeat. And so the 4 phrases: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And it's just repeating that over and over, finding your own rhythm, doing it at your own pace. And it's interesting what happens. Even when I was just doing it just now, it's like the perspective shift, because it's not saying this is to anybody specifically. I'm sorry. You could be apologizing to yourself. You could be apologizing to someone who did you wrong. Please forgive me. You could be asking yourself for forgiveness from a time where you betrayed yourself or abandoned yourself. You could be asking someone else for forgiveness who you can't physically go to. Maybe they're not here anymore. Maybe you guys don't talk anymore, but you're still asking and saying thank you. Maybe thank you. Maybe they forgave you in this meditation. Maybe you forgave yourself. Or maybe this is just a thank you of gratitude. Maybe you're thanking God and I love you, which is so powerful. Maybe you're saying I love you to yourself. Maybe you're saying I love you to God. Maybe you're saying I love you to this person who you just asked for forgiveness. Maybe who knows? But the words, they just hit your heart space so centrally, that is undeniable. And I just always feel very peaceful after coming out of this meditation. And yeah, it's helped me just in a lot of times, in a lot of spaces. And it's just a great reminder that, okay, I'm human, I'm doing my best, I'm doing what I can. And yeah, it's very powerful. So try that. And that is what I have to say about the heart chakra. We will be continuing with the upper three chakras, getting into the spiritual nature of our essence. And until next time.